5 to 8 inches of rain fell in a single night. And right now, southeastern Ohio is still underwater. A destructive derecho tore through the Midwest on August 11th. It left a trail of damage stretching from Iowa all the way to the Ohio Valley. At least 2 storm-related deaths have been confirmed. More than 800,000 utility customers lost power, and entire communities were cut off by floodwaters. We are talking about a historic flooding event. Dayton just shattered a rainfall record that had stood for over a century, dating back to 1915. Here is a full breakdown of what happened and what is coming next. First, let's talk about what caused all of this, because this was not your typical summer thunderstorm. The Storm Prediction Center, the SPC, has preliminarily confirmed that the system tracking from eastern Iowa into northern Indiana was a derecho. If you haven't heard that term before, a derecho is a long-lived, widespread windstorm that forms from a fast-moving band of thunderstorms. Think of it like an inland hurricane, sustained damaging winds across a huge area, but moving in a straight line instead of rotating. This particular derecho got going around 7 a.m. Central Time in Iowa on August 11th and pushed all the way through Indiana by early afternoon. The strongest measured gust came in at 99 miles per hour in Gary, Indiana, confirmed by both the NWS and the SPC. At the same time, a separate but related round of severe thunderstorms was targeting Columbus and southeastern Ohio simultaneously. And it was those storms over southeastern Ohio that produced the catastrophic rainfall totals we are going to break down right now. Let's start with the hardest hit areas, beginning with Perry County and Muskingum County in southeastern Ohio. From midnight through the morning of August 11th, NWS radar and rain gauges confirmed that 5 to 8 inches of rain fell across central Perry County and northwestern Morgan County. To put that in perspective, 5 to 8 inches in a single event is the kind of rainfall you would expect from a landfalling tropical storm, not a summer derecho. The town of New Lexington, the county seat of Perry County, was overwhelmed. Streets turned to rivers, vehicles were submerged, and structures flooded rapidly. Crooksville and Roseville, 2 small towns along the Muskingum River corridor, were among the most severely impacted areas in the state. Roseville, a village of roughly 5,500 residents, was nearly completely cut off by floodwaters. Officials reported that at one point, only a single road in or out remained passable. That isolation had deadly consequences. A Roseville resident died during a medical emergency after floodwaters prevented first responders from reaching them in time. Governor Mike DeWine confirmed that death at a Tuesday press conference in Columbus, about 60 miles to the northwest. A separate storm cluster hit around 10 a.m., packing straight-line wind gusts reaching 82 miles per hour at John Glenn Columbus International Airport, as recorded by the National Weather Service. That storm knocked down trees and power lines, damaged homes and vehicles, and flooded roads across the city, with the south side taking some of the worst damage. At peak outages, around 100,000 customers in Ohio were without power on Tuesday afternoon alone. Over in Dayton, the city recorded 2.07 inches of rain on August 11th, breaking the previous daily record of 1.86 inches set all the way back in 1915, according to the National Weather Service. And in Lorain County, roughly 30 miles southwest of Cleveland, a lightning strike hit Grafton Correctional Institution on the evening of August 11th, while incarcerated individuals were walking back from the evening meal. 16 people were hospitalized as a result, one of whom was airlifted for treatment. No deaths were reported, per the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction. And look, this was not just an Ohio story. Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky were all hit hard by the same storm system. More than 800,000 utility customers across those 4 states lost power as of midnight on August 12th, according to poweroutage.us. And as of 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, Ohio alone still had more than 171,000 customers in the dark. Here is what you need to understand about heavy rain events like this. The flooding does not stop when the rain stops. Runoff keeps draining into creeks, streams, and rivers for hours, even days after the rain ends. The Muskingum River at Beverly was sitting at 29.66 feet early Wednesday morning above its 29-foot flood stage. The NWS forecast the Muskingum to crest near 29.8 feet before slowly dropping back below flood stage Wednesday afternoon. The Hocking River at Athens is another one to watch. It was at 18 feet Wednesday morning and forecast to rise above its 20-foot flood stage during the afternoon, cresting near 20.7 feet Wednesday evening, which is moderate flooding territory for the Athens area. Sunday Creek at Gloucester was also in moderate flood Tuesday evening. Ohio Route 13 and several local streets in Gloucester, Trimble, and Jacksonville were all flooded. Multiple roads remain closed across Perry, Morgan, Athens, and Washington counties. Officials are urging residents to stay off the roads and never drive through floodwater. On road closures, West Athens Road near Ohio 93, but in Roseville is shut down. That has been one of the key routes in and out of that community. Ohio Route 13 is flooded in multiple spots through the Gloucester area, and local roads in Trimble and Jacksonville remain impassable. The Ohio Department of Transportation, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources are all on the ground, assessing damage and clearing debris. Muskingum County EMA Director Jeff Jadwin said damage across the county is widespread, and crews expect to spend many more hours clearing debris and reopening roads. Governor DeWine declared a state of emergency for Perry and Muskingum counties Tuesday afternoon, a major step that unlocks state recovery resources. He also activated the Ohio National Guard's High Water Rescue Unit to support operations in Roseville and Crooksville. 40 soldiers from the 1484th Transportation Company in North Canton and the 1485th Transportation Company in Coshocton were deployed with 20 tactical vehicles. Shelters were opened at Crooksville High School, Crooksville Middle School, and the Perry County Fairgrounds for residents displaced by the flooding. Governor DeWine toured the impacted areas Wednesday, visiting displaced residents and saying, "These are resilient communities, and they will come back from this." Let's zoom out because the derecho that hit Ohio was actually part of a much larger severe weather outbreak across the Midwest. SW's Quad Cities confirmed 3 EF1 tornadoes touched down in Delaware County, Iowa, associated with the derecho producing system. NWS Chicago officially confirmed 5 tornadoes in the metro area, including a significant EF2 twister tracking from Monee, Illinois to Crown Point, Indiana, with peak winds of 111 to 135 miles per hour confirmed by the National Weather Service. 2 of those Chicago area tornadoes crossed into Indiana, and EF1 tracked through Munster, while the EF2 pushed all the way through Lake County to Crown Point. Tragically, a 4-year-old boy was killed in Geneva Township, Jennings County, Indiana, when a tree fell onto the bedroom of a home during the storm, confirmed by the Jennings County Sheriff's Office. This storm system was one of the most significant severe weather events to impact the Midwest this summer, and recovery is going to take time. Now let's talk about what is coming, because the next 48 hours are critical for the ongoing flood recovery. Here is the situation. The ground across southeastern Ohio is completely saturated right now. The soil cannot absorb any more water, which means even a relatively modest rain event in the next day or two could immediately trigger new flash flooding with very little warning time. The good news is that Thursday, August 13th, looks like the better of the next 2 days for southeastern Ohio. Perry County and the New Lexington area are looking at highs in the low to mid 80s on Thursday, with only about a 20% chance of rain, a real window for rescue crews and cleanup teams. Columbus is in a similar spot on Thursday, with mostly dry conditions, highs around 84 Fahrenheit and rain chances around 20%. If you are a first responder, a utility crew, or a resident trying to assess damage, Thursday is your best opportunity to get out there and get that work done. But pay close attention to what I am about to say next, because Friday changes the picture significantly. The National Weather Service still has a flood watch in effect across southeastern Ohio through the morning of Friday, August 14th. That watch covers 9 counties: Athens, Gallia, Jackson, Lawrence, Meigs, Morgan, Perry, Vinton and Washington, all of them already dealing with ongoing flooding. Friday's forecast shows a 75% chance of rain returning to Perry County and the broader southeastern Ohio region. The NWS has flagged that soils remain saturated and that creeks and streams are already running high. Additional rounds of thunderstorms could produce heavy rainfall and renewed flash flooding. The Hocking River at Athens is still forecast to be near or above flood stage Friday evening, so any additional rain falling on that watershed will make things significantly worse. Bottom line on Friday, this is not the time to get comfortable. The flood risk is real, it is immediate, and it could be just as dangerous as what we saw on Tuesday. Now let's step back and take a broader look at weather conditions across the rest of the country. Across the northern plains and upper Midwest, conditions are relatively quiet as high pressure builds in from Canada. Down along the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, it is hot, it is humid, and isolated afternoon storms remain possible through the weekend, which is typical for August. Out west, the desert Southwest is dealing with active monsoon moisture, and Phoenix, Tucson, and Albuquerque can expect continued afternoon and evening thunderstorms with localized flash flooding possible in burn scar areas. Up in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle and Portland are enjoying their typically dry late summer pattern with highs in the mid-70s and low wildfire risk for now. Along the East Coast, from the Carolinas up through New England, it is warm and partly cloudy with no major storm systems on the horizon. One more thing before we wrap up. We are squarely in the peak of Atlantic hurricane season right now, and I am watching the tropics closely. As of this broadcast, there are no named storms threatening the continental U.S., but the National Hurricane Center is monitoring areas of disturbed weather in the Atlantic Basin. If you are in Florida, the Gulf Coast states, or anywhere along the eastern seaboard, now is the time to have your hurricane preparedness plan in place. I will bring you updates the moment anything develops in the tropics that could impact the U.S. coastline. All right, let's bring it all together. This is an active, evolving situation across the Ohio Valley, and the story is over over yet. Southeastern Ohio, Perry County, Muskingum County, Athens County, and the surrounding areas, you are not in the clear. Friday's rain threat is serious and needs to be taken seriously. Do not drive through floodwater. I cannot stress this enough. It only takes 6 inches of moving water to knock a person off their feet and just 2 feet to sweep away most vehicles. If you are in one of those 9 counties under the flood watch, have a plan, know your evacuation routes, and keep your phone charged with weather alerts turned on. This is a developing situation, and I will be updating you daily as new forecast data comes in, especially as we track that Friday rain threat heading into the weekend. If this video helped you stay informed and prepared, please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.